So I like to play backyard games, cornhole or washers or whatever other things, and also like to have some drinks while I'm doing it. And often find that it'd be nice to have cup holders. So I decided to make these cup holders you see, or you just saw. Um, so I went and got some quarter-inch steel rounds. I got this is half of what I got, and I just that was a submersible motor. I bent them around, but really anything that's going to get you close in diameter to the cup holders. I ended up 3D printing the cup holders I got, and then I just bent them kind of to fit. Then I had this is an axle from an old sprayer, tow behind sprayer that I cut up into pieces, and I'm making basically little nuts. And really, this is just practice for um, running my lathe. You could definitely omit this part if you were going to want to do something similar and just tack weld nuts on the end of the cup holders. Um, I drilled those out and then tapped it for quarter 20. Um, and then, so here I have those cut pieces around, and I am tacking on the little nuts I made. And I ended up making four of those because I can't count. Um, I neglected to, or maybe it's not count that it's my math skills that aren't great. But you're gonna need two of these for cup, and there's two cup holders for each stand, and I got two stands, one for um, either side of the game. If you're usually playing with partners or whatever. Anyway, I'm fiddling around trying to get this thing clamped down so I can get it welded on. And angle iron there is just for a spacer to kind of get that quarter-inch half rounds up to around the midway point of those threaded pieces I made. So the first time I did it, it took me a while to kind of get it fixtured right. And then once I got the first one done, the rest of it went pretty smooth. So, and not much more than a tack holding these on, but most of these won't be carrying much more than about 12 ounces anyway. So that's what I'm doing here is just tacking those threaded pieces on. And at some point, I realized that I miscounted, and I could have made more. I had more of the axle shaft um, that I could have cut more pieces out of, but the ones I made were pretty long, and I intentionally made them long, but they ended up not looking quite as cool as I thought they were going to look, and it was just basically for aesthetics anyway. So once I got this all, which I got, these all welded together for one of the stands. Once I got that those parts put together, I took the one side, the one stand top section over to my little porta band. I got a porta band on a stand that I use. I like to use. Anyway, I'll show you here in just a sec. So I got that all welded up, and then this is the. So you see those threaded pieces are sticking out quite a ways, and I don't know. I don't remember how long they were, but maybe 3/4 of an inch or so. Um, so I'm just cutting those in half, and then I took and welded the extra ones on, and then I took a grinder to all of them and just kind of smoothed them out around to the edges because people's hands are going to be on them. Didn't want people getting cut, so I'm just kind of that's what I'm doing here is just those threaded pieces that I made. I'm just rounding them over, smoothing them out, and then I got both of those done, and so. I got the assistance of my lovely wife here. She came and helped me hold those vertically while I welded them up. Um, so I did this, and then I also put a step to, what the purpose of this step is to help you drive those in the ground, so you can kind of step on it and drive it into the ground. The other end of this that you're not looking at is kind of sharpened. Anyway, so what I decided was get, I think there were 10 or 12-inch pieces of rebar, and these frames are made out of rebar. I just got a 10-footer, cut it in half. I had another chunk of rebar laying around. I cut a couple of 10 or 12-inch pieces. So the stands are 5 feet tall, and then what I did was I figured workbench is about a good height for a cup holder, so I sat those on the ground um, the way you saw it, and then where my workbench intercepted that, I put a little mark. That's how I knew where to put those stands. So you put your foot on that, drive it in the ground, and where that ends up putting the cup holders is about my workbench height. It doesn't matter. If you decided you want to make something like this, you could put those whatever height you wanted, but that's just how I did it. You could also measure it out to whatever you figure is a comfortable height. But just quick and dirty, and it seemed to work pretty good. Anyway, here I am welding those step bars on. And same thing on both sides here. Then once they got um, once I got them welded up, then I wire brushed them. And then here are the cup holders, and I 3D printed these. I just went on Thingiverse and found swivel cup holders, and um, I printed actually more pieces that didn't fit so good because I'm not great at 3D printing. Anyway, I threw the rest of it away, and that's when I decided to make these stands the way they are. Um, and so here, just kind of tweaking them to fit those stands. And I tapped those quarter 20. If I'd have done something like a 1024 or something like that, probably wouldn't have had to drill those out. But that's the way I decided to go with this. And a 1024 would likely be plenty strong enough. Okay, then once those are uh, put together, assembled, uh, I liked the way just the raw metal looked. So I'm putting a little bit of Danish oil on there just to keep it from put the rust off for a while. I know Danish oil is meant for wood, and I typically would use it for wood. But I've done this on a couple other projects where it was raw metal, and I use that instead of a clear coat paint. And I've had pretty good results. Obviously, you wouldn't want to leave that out indefinitely, but so here it is. Here's the final project, and thanks for watching.
Oh no, I think he made a video on making those drink holder stands. So he's finishing that.